When I've asked people on previous runs of this course what advice they'd give future students, they've said, tell them to stick with it, it all comes together in the end. I've been thinking about this. It's perhaps time for some signposting to help make sure that happens. Of course, this course has changed over time because of the way we've responded to evaluation. And evaluation is one of the two themes this week, along with assessment. Both of them entail judgment. Evaluation is about judgments we make about courses, and assessment is about the judgments we make about students. That's the way we're using the terms in this course anyway, and I'm very conscious that usage is different in different parts of the world. And they overlap anyway. What happens in the assessment of students is in any case a part of the evaluation of the course. The relationship between assessment and course design featured strongly in the evaluation of this course that we did last week. This was an evaluation technique called Stop, Start and Continue, one that I find helpful for giving me constructive feedback on how students are getting on halfway through a course, that can be used at the end of a course too. I'll say more about the technique during the week, and I'll make the findings available to you. I'll leave it for a bit in case anyone else wants to add anything. We've currently got 11 anonymous responses, which is fewer than half the class, and people can respond more than once anyway. However, there are some useful messages, particularly highlighting assessment, and I thought I'd respond to a couple briefly here. These are the role of the Week 4 activity and whether it should be assessed, and the loading of assessment at the end of the course. There is an associated concern about the complexity of the different theoretical perspectives that might influence course design. And the observations have both got me thinking about potential changes I might make to next year's course, and also what we can do to help you more at this stage of the course. The Week 4 activity seems to work well as a way of bringing some rather abstract theoretical ideas to life, and people have reported finding it helpful. However, it did involve a lot of work, and some feel that this should be recognised through marks. Others have commented on the lack of subsequent discussion and feedback. It wasn't clear how well the group was doing. I think this is fair comment, and I'm considering a further restructure for next year that allows feedback and further reflection on the activity. This may entail some resequencing, which could have additional knock-on effects, so it will be done with care. Now, if we were to give marks for the activity, it would change its nature, and I personally would be very uncomfortable about doing it in its current state, though that doesn't mean I wouldn't consider it as part of the revision. I always saw this as an experience to reflect on, with a view to forming or reconsidering abstract concepts on the nature of course design, and then testing these out. You might recognise the influence of Kolb's learning cycle here. I would question whether I should be assessing at the time I'd be expecting abstract conceptualisation to be happening. It might be better to do it later. We can, of course, discuss this. So, should we assess at a time when abstract conceptualisation might be still taking place, or should we assess when people are ready to experiment a bit further? And indeed, it's made me think that I'll go back to the Week 4 activity and see what the implications of assessment might be in relation to the brief each group was given. That will allow me to revisit, review and give feedback, and perhaps in turn meet the need for further clarification of the theoretical perspectives identified in the Stop, Start, Continue exercise as being a bit problematic. More on this later in the week. We do have a whole course on assessment on this programme, some of you have taken it, but its role in course design is of course really important, and for many people assessment is the most important aspect of course design. Years ago, when I worked on a project to support innovative teaching, I was amazed at how many teaching staff didn't think about how an innovative design might, or should, have an impact on the assessment of their course. Earlier in this course, we highlighted the role of constructive alignment. If you adopt this perspective, then you are likely to realise that a change to your teaching methods will have an impact on your assessment. My own responses to last week's evaluation model some of the concern of the writers of this week's essential reading. I want to avoid both the frying pan and the fire when I redesign my course. Often when we do an evaluation, we find that people say opposite things. One says a course was too long, another says it was too short. Somebody might say it's too hard, somebody says it's too easy. I didn't quite get that in this evaluation, though I do see a tension between providing familiar environments and providing novel ones for the course itself. The reading is yet another that draws on the experiences of a group such as ours, practitioners from a range of backgrounds, all working on a course about teaching. This was commented on in the Stop, Start, Continue activity. So I'm wondering about disciplinary differences. Can you find a paper evaluating a course design in your own specialist area? That might provide a useful conclusion to your thinking before you go into the assessment phase. Perhaps I'll add this to next year's run of the course. So, this week you can expect discussions about assessment and evaluation methods, and summaries, reviews and feedback on what we've done to date. I'll also put up the teams for the learning events shortly, so you can start to get in touch with each other. Though actually that's what's next week's for. So I hope you enjoy week 7. Look forward to all the discussions.